But in APC, you can't say one person is controlling the party. It's very difficult for one person to control APC. It's very, very difficult. Even look at Lagos State. The governor went with the GAC members to go and see Asiwaju Tinubu. Who did our own governor go with when he went to go and see the president? He went with his family members. So you can see Lagos. The governor cannot say, I'm the only one in the state, I'm the leader, let me go and see the president alone when I have crisis with him. He had to go with those elderly men. So that's the difference. And if you see in government now, APC too has a little bit of challenge because their opposition was what they trained with. So in coming into government now, they're trying to find their feet. They are not really used because theirs is just to come and look for crises here, look for criticisms, gap, loophole. So when they came into government, when Buhari came into government, you could see that it was like a rudderless ship going from left to right. They didn't understand the system very well because they too were used to opposition. And now that they've gotten into power now, we don't have any opposition because the other party that should be opposition is a party that has been used to getting feeding bottle and getting free food from the leaders of the party. So that's so for me in Osun State, I see more professionals, more youths, more professors. I interact with so many professors on a regular basis in Osun State for my local government. But when I was in PDP, pepper soup, fish, I cannot have any conversation with anybody. Only Bamidele Salam, the member representing me in the House of Rep, very fantastic and highly brilliant person. But it was like a sore thumb in the midst of plenty. And his influence was limited. Every other thing is party, let's go to nightclub, let's go to the party, let's go and Ankara, let's drink pepper soup. I mean, I'm not that, I don't live that kind of lifestyle. So I wasn't comfortable in that environment. And I left them. So that's the difference I see in Osun State. I don't know about any other state, but from where I come from, I can speak for my state. So that's the answer to my question, sir. To the question, sir.
Give him a second. I think we lost his audio. Okay, he's back now.
Okay.
Okay, is our speaker still there? Am I the one who
yes, I'm here. No, I'm here, sir.
Go ahead. So I'm listening to the rudderless ship.
Okay, yes, so that's why I said...
He has finished.
So you said something was like a rudderless ship.
No, I said when APC first come into government, when they first got into government in 2015, it was clear that they were not really prepared. It was like, you know, the president took almost 6 months to come up with his cabinet from the policies they were coming. You know, it was clear that they were not really, they were only prepared to take power, not to govern. That's the honest truth. But now they are finding their foot and they are getting it right. Yeah, there are still some challenges here and there, but you can tell because they were used to opposition, guerrilla warfare, opposition. But PDP lacks that. They don't have that capacity, not at all, because they are not a long term. They are now. What can we get now? But APC, they were more strategic. They were more long term oriented. When APC was coordinating the coalition, 2 years to the election, they were already prepared. They knew what they were doing. What do we have today? You know, we have less than 2 years to the elections, and we still don't know what the coalition is. We still don't know what the opposition is. You know, they are now rudderless. The opposition now is completely rudderless and almost going into extinction, if I might use that choice of words.
I want to ask you some fundamental questions, and if you're unable to answer them, you can plead the Fifth Amendment, and I would allow you. The first one is, what do you even think should be the best system for governance in Nigeria? Do we really need a democracy? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. Some people have said that Dubai is working. For example, it's not a democracy as such. It's a monarchy, and the monarchy is working and is doing very well. They said Singapore is a democracy, but you had almost 20, 25, 30 years of Lee Kuan Yew, who kept on coming back and was able to pick the country out. Same thing is happening sort of like in Rwanda, where you have a Kagame who has held on to Rwanda and is sort of pulling Rwanda out. That you need 20, 25 years of a consistently good government before you can begin to see growth and improvement. That even this democracy that you are changing government every 4 to 8 years is a bit of a disturbance in our growth. So some people are thinking, should we even have another system of governance completely? Even in Germany, one of the high-ranking German officials in Nigeria is a friend of mine, and they do have a democracy in Germany, but there's no tenure. You know, you do 7 years, then or 6 years, you come back, you do another 6 years, you come back, you do another 6 years, you come back. As long as your party keeps winning and they keep choosing you as their leader, you just keep coming back. So there's no 8 years and go maximum tenure. So what do you think? That's the first question. Do we really even need a democracy in Nigeria for maybe you should take a bite at that.
Yes, sir.
I go to the next one.
That's a very deep and very fundamental question, and it's something that I've pondered on numerous occasions, and I'm still pondering on it. And I'll tell you why. You know, democracy is a very good system of government, but it's not meant for everybody. And why I say it's not meant for everybody is that democracy is meant for a society where people think, where people are not hungry, where they can take decisions not based on what they want to eat, but based on their brain and based on what is good for the nation, the country. Unfortunately, for Nigeria, the level of poverty is very high. Level of education, illiteracy is very high. So what you find is that those who are supposed to take decisions that will benefit the society are taking those decisions based on the wrong yardsticks. They're taking it based on how much somebody gave them, based on what the traditional ruler told them, based on who is from their religion, based on who is from their local government and all those things. They're not looking for competence. Because the goal of democracy is for you to have the best leaders among you, not Yahoo boys, not jokers, not clowns. Even if you're a comedian, Ali Baba is a comedian, but he's highly brilliant, sophisticated, enlightened. So we need that sort of system. But for Nigeria now, it's not working for us very well because of the level of illiteracy and all those. But at the same time, we have to keep at it. We are 26 years today having unbroken record of democracy from the Fourth Republic. So it means that we are making progress. Every election that we have, we keep on making progress. America wasn't built in one day. So those who say that, yes, we need a strong leader, yes, I agree. We need a strong leader who can discipline people, who can hold, because to make change in a country like Nigeria is extremely difficult, which is one of the reasons why in moving to the APC, I considered that and said, okay, when Asiwaju was the governor of Lagos State, he's an ideas person. He understands the game. He seems to have a vision. He will be a better person to push this vision aside, forward. Let's see what he can do. So I think it's too early for us to say democracy is not good for us in Nigeria. But we must admit that given our current situation now, we have serious challenges. Because in my local government, when people are voting for election, they will ask you for money. Even the party leaders that should campaign. When I was contesting for election in 2019, I told my party leaders, I said, why do I have to campaign if people are asking me for money? Why can't I just wait for 2 days to election or 1 month and I'll just come and I'll share money and I don't have to go? Why will I go on radio? Why will I be going to all the communities to be campaigning? If at the end of the day, you will still ask me to give you logistics. It doesn't make any sense. And Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world where that still happens. That you see people who are supposed to be leaders asking you for logistics, asking you for that. So as long as people continue to ask for logistics for election, democracy might not really solve our problem very well. So I think the best way for us to attack the problem will be to say, how can we uplift our citizens out of penury? How can we bring up more policies for education? Because you have a governor in a state driving an LX600. LX600 goes for about 400 million. You buy SUVs for House of Assembly members who cannot afford to buy that kind of vehicle for themselves in the first place. And you have primary schools where they don't have teachers. It doesn't make any sense. But if you have a smart governor, like the governor of Enugu, I love the guy. He's doing very well, even though he's a PDP governor. You invest all those resources in education. Instead of investing those resources to be buying vehicles, to be doing white elephants projects, go to the grassroots. Invest in primary school education. Instead of buying JAM form for people who will fail JAM, why not take those resources to the primary school? And let's groom our students from primary school so that by the time they get to secondary school, they will do very well. But unfortunately, the people voting for in elections want jokers. They want dancers. They want clowns. They want liars. They want people who are not people of ideas and vision. So I agree with you, Pastor. Democracy is a challenge for us, but we are making progress. So what we need to do, and why I like what you are doing with the ALG, is that we need to continue speaking up. We need to continue advocating. We need to continue encouraging people. from 10, he increases to 100 and all that. When Awolowo started AG, when he invited people for AG meeting, people that came were less than 10. And he told them at the meeting that I'm not doing this, I want to cancel this program, I'm not doing it anymore. But they encouraged him. And at the next meeting, he had over 20 people and he felt encouraged. So if people are giving up on Nigeria and they say that Pastor Ighodalo is doing all this, Pastor Ighodalo doesn't need money, he doesn't need appointments, God has blessed him already, but he believes in Nigeria. So we just need to create more people who believe in Nigeria and who are willing to make the impact in the society. If we have more of us that we are doing that, eventually democracy will work for us, but democracy was not built for a country where illiteracy is high or country where they vote based on money. That's not the system. This kind of system, perhaps they will need a monarchy or a strong personality who can be in government for 20 years to ensure discipline like Lee Kuan Yew, ensure discipline, ensure development, then we create this. But now, because we are a country governed by law, we cannot advocate against democracy. We cannot advocate against the change of style system of government. We can discuss. But if we invest heavily in education and creating opportunities for the citizenry, then somebody who is not hungry will take decisions based on wisdom. If I want to vote, when I was in PDP, people were fighting me that I'm not supporting Adeleke. I said, as my level, with the level of my education and my exposure, we have 5 candidates and you want me to just choose as my first option? It doesn't make any sense. I will never do that, even if they promise me appointments. But when I didn't have a choice, 2018, we lost, Ogunbiyi lost. And when Ogunbiyi lost, he got frustrated. He didn't continue staying in the party. He just went back to where he came from. So he gave room for other people to, and he gave up, which is what a lot of people always do. I'm happy that Pastor Ighodalo is still going on with this program. What happened in Edo State and all that, you know. So you didn't give up. That's the spirit of politics. That's the spirit of development. You don't give up. And when I had the chance in 2022, I stood by Omoba Bayemi. I didn't mind people say Faruq this and that. I would have run for office in 2022. But when I saw that I was supported this guy, I was one of his top 5 supporters. They marked me for execution already that I didn't work for them. I was a candidate. I said if I buy their ticket, they would just want to intimidate me. So go to hell with your ticket. I don't need your ticket. So I didn't even show interest. Some of their leaders were calling me to buy the form. I said, you want to collect my money? I'm not contesting. But if Babayemi had gotten the party ticket, I would have run for office because that's a leader I can work with. So yes, we need to consider that democracy is not working the way it should for us. But at the same time, it can work. We just have to invest more in the right places and get more leaders who can make changes. Look at Peter Mba. He's a PDP. I'm not in PDP, but he's a PDP governor. I respect him. Alex Oti is doing very well. Sanwo-Olu is trying in Lagos, whether we like it or not, he's trying. Yes, can he do better? He can do better. But they are trying their best. So that's what I have to say on that question. So I don't know if I answered the question or if I missed out any part. I'm happy to take it, sir.
No problem. I will accept that from you. But now, looking at your passion and your interest, this how do we do with this party structure that we have? Both parties, have gaps here and there. One of the president's statements in his speech today is that to those who ring the alarm that APC is intent on a one-party state, I offer you a most personal promise. While your alarm may be a result of your panic, it rings in error. At no time in the past, nor any instance in the present, and at no future junction shall I view the notion of a one-party state as good for Nigeria. I have never attempted to alter any political party registration with INEC. Equally, my friends, we cannot blame anybody seeking to bail out of a sinking ship, even without a life jacket. That's his explanation for this one-party state we all seem to be tilting towards, okay? 2 very, very prominent states have changed and joined the APC. One state is, they removed the governor. There's a state of emergency there. I think that's part of what is panicking some of these governors. They suddenly realize that they are not infallible and the president can wield a big stick. So everybody wants to be in his good books. So we may not be intent on that, but our actions are making it seem that this is the way it might be going. So I want you to tell me, how do we strengthen our parties? Number 1. Number 2, you have spoken about illiteracy and almost the weaponization thereof in our country, and that a country with ignorant people really cannot work out a democracy. Who is going to bail the cat? Who is going to educate these people when the process we have keeps producing maybe 60, 70% of leaders who are not interested in the people and much more interested in themselves. And then number three, you spoke about corruption in the PDP and so on and so forth. We also know that in the APC, it may not be as much as the PDP, I don't know, but a lot of money does exchange hands, both within the party and within and outside the party. So, in fact, politics and money and corruption, they seem to be birds of the same feather and hand in hand. A lot of people look at the political time as a time for them to make money, and they create, in fact, it's an industry now. It's an industry. People create all sorts of things. I've been inside with my brother a little bit, so I've seen a little bit of it, and what he went through and the pain that you go through. How do we sanitize our politics? How do we ensure, that only the best, come to the table? You've complained bitterly, and that's your opinion, that the process in the PDP did not, in your own opinion, produce the best, okay? That again can be debatable, but hearing you speak and your intellectual progress, you must know what you're talking about. How do we then put in a process that produces the best or the near best? I don't know if I've asked you too many questions, but let me ask all those questions. I know quite a lot of people are putting up their hands, and I'm going to yield the floor in another few minutes for them to ask the questions.
Yes, sir, you are very correct. You've asked a very good question, multifaceted, but I'll try my best to answer them. Number one is that one thing Nigerians need to first of all realize, and I tell everybody all the time, is that Nigerian politicians are one of the smartest people in the world. I can say it any day, anytime. Nigerian politicians, the average Nigerian politician is one of the smartest in the world. But unfortunately, their smartness is not utilized for development. It is utilized for power grabbing. The average Nigerian politician has 5 plans. They have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. You can't catch them unaware. When you are dealing with this sort of people, you don't just come from London or come from Lagos within 1 year and think you want to uproot them. It doesn't work that way. If you want to take over party structure or you want to make influence, it's a long-term game because we've lost out already. In America, the average citizen is involved in Democrat or Republican. They contribute money, they have family pedigree, involvement in the society. Nigerians, we are mostly selfish. Me and my family, how do I build a house? How do I travel to London? How do I do this? So we've left the politics to not the so best in our environment. So we have a lot of catching up to do. So number one, we must admit that we are playing, like in football, you are playing away match. You are not playing on your home turf. Those who want to make change must know that they are playing away match. So they must admit that those other guys are way poles ahead of them. So in confronting them, you must be strategic. You can't just go guns blazing and think you can confront them at the first attempt. Look at Alex Otti and Seyi Makinde. They ran for office. Seyi Makinde, first of all, ran in 2007 under AMPP. He moved to SDP. He lost. He went to PDP, tried to run for governor. He lost. Then he came back to PDP again. Alex Otti, same thing. Soludo, same thing. So you must have that grit. So what we should know is that the best of us must be willing to go back to the grassroots. Don't say you are living in Ikoyi and you want to go and be taking over in Ikoyi. You didn't grow up in Ikoyi. You only started living in Ikoyi when you were 45 years old. So your influence in your estate, in your environment is limited. But if you go back to your home to go and vote or to go and join a political party and you go for meetings once in 3 months, you have more influence because people know your parents' name. They know your name. They are youth who you can sponsor, who you can encourage. So number one is that we must be strategic. But Nigerians who complain or want change are not as strategic and they don't have that long-term spirit. I know the pain, Pastor. I ran for office in 2019. I spent millions of naira, betrayals from all forms, from my party members, from my so-called leaders, betrayals. My mental health was damaged during that period. If somebody says good morning to me, the next thing is I want to give you money. My wife had to start controlling me because I've gotten so used to it that in politics in Osun State, when people greet you or talk to you, they want something. So when I got to Lagos, if somebody calls me, I'll say send the account number. That's the next thing I'm asking for. So I needed to change my side. So number one is that we must go to the grassroots. When you go to the grassroots now, the average political party in Nigeria, their ward chairman, unit chairman, they don't care about development. Party chairman, I see them. both APC, PDP. People are the ones controlling them. So we need to find a way to put people who we respect and trust in the party structure. Then along the line, I saw the GAC. I'm not insulting them or abusing them, but when I saw the video of Governor Sanwo-Olu going to the president's house about 3 days ago, about half of them were using walking stick. So what that taught me was that when these people go, who are the next set of people who will take over from these people? Are you sure it's not their children? Are we positioning ourselves to take over from them? So it's a long-term game. So now I have realized that it's a long-term game. So I'm not ready to fight anybody. I have to take strategic decisions. But I won't be far from my home. But at the same time too, I will be playing the game. But not that the average professional, once you go into politics and they collect your money and they shoot at you and all those things, you will never come back again. You'll run away. But when you go, I see what Mr. Faruq Abass is doing. He still goes back home. He's still at the Supreme Court. That's what they call grit. You must keep at it. The moment you stop, you lose momentum. You can't. And Pastor, you asked the question, how do we get good people to come into place? Governor Obaseki, no doubt, any day, anytime, is one of the brilliant financial minds in Nigeria. You cannot say anything about that. Even if you don't like his politics, you must admit that he's a brilliant financial person. So because he was there, in choosing the candidate for PDP, he decided to back the best. In Edo State, Faruq Abass was the best, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And he emerged as the PDP candidate. If he didn't have the family recognition at home, if his parents were not involved in politics, in the society, he won't be able to get the ticket. But he rode on the leverage of the governor, who was also a visionary. So what we need to do is, let's push somebody in. I got in as chief of staff to the speaker because the speaker is my friend and he knew my capacity. I do some work for him. So he brought me in. But if it was somebody else that was the speaker, they would never have called me to come in. If I didn't run for office in 2019, I wouldn't have met him. So we have to, some people will have felt that, okay, Faruq, you should have waited in government so that you can have more connection and take all this bullshit. I'm like, no, this is too much. Part of my choice of word. I can't take all this. Let me come out. But I'm coming back again. But I'll go through another route. So we must be strategic and we must go back to the grassroots. All this idea, I want to be president, you're attacking President Tinubu, when you should be attacking your local government and ward chairman or your local government chairman or your governor in your state. It doesn't work. So we have to go back to the basics, go back to where we have influence. I live in Lagos, but I don't register in Lagos. I don't know I vote in my hometown. For Salah, I didn't do it in my hometown. I did it in Lagos this year because the money I was spending in my hometown would have been too much this year because we're already in election season in my state. And I'm not getting contract. I'm working hard for my money. But I said, okay, I gave them rams to kill in my hometown and share to some people. So I will still go home. I will go at times, I will run away. If I don't have money when they call me, I won't pick up the calls. If I have small money to spare and they call me, so I'm always going back. But I can't just say I will forget them. Because in my hometown now, our transformer has been bad for the past 3 months. We don't have transformer and we don't have lights in my hometown. But because I have a relationship with the House of Rep member who is a PDP member, Honorable Bamidele Salam, I called him and he promised me that they will give us the transformer next month. If I was not involved, I wouldn't have been able to call him to give me a transformer in my community. The roads in my community are bad. I have one of my brothers who does cocoa cashew business. If trailer wants to come into my hometown, they can't come in because the road is bad. So the reason why I'm passionate about APC now getting a governorship that I know that will win the election is so that when the person enters, I'll say, come and do the road to my village. I need a primary school in my village. My people in my village don't have a primary school. We walk 4 kilometers. So come and give me primary school, come and give me road and empower 50 of my youth. Don't give me appointment. But let them know that I was the one that brought it to my community. If I'm able to achieve that, I'm okay. But I won't start thinking to say, I want to be Senate, I want to be governor, I want to be president, I want to attack the president of Nigeria. No, I'm focused on my community. So if all of us go back and focus on our community, within 5 or 7 or 8 years or 10 years, we will get the power back. But we just think by making noise on social media within 3 years, 4 years, you want to be abusing people or come on this platform and start abusing me and saying all those things, you're not going to achieve success. You're not going to achieve success. So, Pastor, we must go back. What you have done, you have led by example. Because if it was some other brothers, they will not stand with their brother the way they stood by their brother during the election period, during the campaign. When I ran for office and my younger brother followed me, who is also a lawyer, followed me to my hometown one day for campaign. Just 4 hours, he was throwing up like a baby in the vehicle. He was asking me that, where do you get this energy from? I said, even me, I don't know where I get the energy from. But when I'm in Osun State, I'm a different person entirely. So we must go back to where we have influence. And we must know that the people we are dealing with are smart people. They are smarter than us, even the illiterates among them. So when you are dealing with them, you must be strategic. You can't condemn them totally. You can't be speaking grammar, talking philosophy, and all that. You must be deliberate. You must be balancing it. You do some market infrastructure. You let them know that, because they will test you. They will see whether you just want to come and run for office. So when you come, they will pretend, they will collect your money, and they will see. By the time they chance you one time, and you come again, and you're still spending the money, after a time, even a lion, if you give a lion food regularly, when it sees you one day, it will not kill you again. Even wild animals, they won't kill you. And a dog knows the difference between being kicked and being stumbled upon. So the people at the grassroots also know if you want to come and use politics to make money, or you want to serve them. And if they see that you are looking for upliftment or you want to make money, they will finish you. And if care is not taken, you will sell all your assets and you will still not get what you want. So let's go back to our sphere of influence. Let's be more strategic in engaging. I agree with what the president said. He can't coordinate PDP for PDP or coordinate the opposition party. That's not his business. When he was in opposition, President Obasanjo took over Southwest, but he couldn't take over Lagos. And Asiwaju used Lagos to build Oyo, build Osun. He fought hard. So why didn't the president take over Lagos then? So if somebody could fight the president then, and you think he's president, and you think it's by making noise on social media, you will win him, that must be the joke of the century. You must put on your thinking cap. You must get consultants. You must be strategic. You must know Osun State, what is happening in this local government. Okay, even in Osun State, we don't have the strength in Osun State. Let's go to Ejibo. Let's go to this local government. Let's go and test our strategy. If it works in Ejibo, then it can work in Ife. Then it can work in Ilobo. Then when you achieve Lagos, Osun State, then you go to Oyo, then you move. But if you start making noise that you want to get the top presidency, when you don't have a polling unit, what chairman in your party, then you must be a joker. So that's it. We must go back. In our House of Rep election in Osun State in 2023, the primaries, my local government had 33 delegates, and all the leaders said they will vote for the opponent, who was for my local government. But I said I will vote for the incumbent, Bamidele Salam, who is from another local government, and I had my delegates. The leaders threatened me that my future will not be good if I support Bamidele Salam, who is not from my local government. And I told them that my future is in the hands of God. When is my future? You might not even be alive. I was the only one who stood with Bamidele Salam, and that's why he respects me up till today. They offered us money. They offered everything. I said no. Bamidele Salam is a honorable person. He's a lawyer. I believe in him. And he's a Redeemed Church member. He's not a Muslim. And I stood with him. I didn't care what they say. So we have to go back. We have to be involved. So if it's Labour Party you want to stay with, stay in your Labour Party. Get involved by the grassroots. But don't just work on social media and think that you can win these politicians. They are so smart. And I'm sure Pastor Ighodalo agrees with me. They are very devious, very clever, very smart, very strategic, and diabolic. Diabolic. And they can use violence. I've been attacked before. They came to my hotel and they were shooting at me. I went to go and join spy. I had to go and join spy police too. And get say, let me see if I can apply for a license or how can this thing can work. Because I was terrorized. So we must be strategic and engage with them. I'm sure people that came to attack this program, I won't be surprised if, because from Osun State, they know that I will come and speak on this program and they send people to come out. I won't be surprised. That's the way politicians operate. If they know that this guy has a voice, this guy will talk about us, they will look for every means to come after you. So, but it's doable. If Asiwaju could go against APC structure to get a ticket, we too can go against anybody in the country. But we must believe, we must be strategic, and we must plan long term. But instant no-do approach, now approach, 4 years approach is not going to work. You can't defeat these guys in 4 years. So that's what I have to say on that, Pastor.
Okay, so how do we then make our democracy work? What are the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 that you think we need to take to make this democracy work and bring about the kind of democracy that we want, especially as simple and innocent individuals as ourselves? And I'll leave you at that. And then maybe you can then take a peep at our constitution and then see whether indeed we're heading towards a one-party state. And then I'll ask Pastor Sonny to run the Q&A or Sister Jumoke, please.
Step one, Pastor, is that we must believe internally in our minds that Nigeria can be a great country in our lifetime. We must believe, because if you don't believe that Nigeria can be a great country, every other thing you do will be meaningless. So you must have that strong belief. Even if you want to go for PR in Canada, or you want to go to America to become a citizen in America or Trinidad and Tobago, number one, you must believe that Nigeria is possible. A good Nigeria is possible. When you have that belief that a good Nigeria is possible, you should now ask yourself, how do I want to be a civic Nigerian? How do I want to be actively involved? You don't have to run for office. ALG is a program, is an organization that does advocacy and all that. You can support organizations like that. You can belong to organizations like that. Number two, you can identify people who you feel have the capacity and encourage them. Because I'm sure that people like Mr. Faruq Abass, they must have tapped in. Ordinarily, he won't have been the one to say he wants to run for office. They must have tapped in. So in your community too, when you see some people that can do it, talk to them. Why don't you run for office? We'll raise funding for you. In America, they do these things. So tap in your immediate environment, in your polling units, look for how you can influence. And if you want to advance a little bit, join a political party. And you don't have to join APC. You know, a one-sided coin is a bad legal tender. A one-party state is not good for anybody. It's not even good for APC because we will become lethargic and we'll become complacent and eventually we will dovetail into chaos. So, and the president said it in his speech today. He said some of the best advice you can get will even come from your most ferocious critics. So we need a viral opposition to even keep the president on his toes and to keep the winning party on their toes. So you join a political party. And when you join a political party, don't just think you will just come from London or from Lagos and you want to start controlling that party. No, put your hand behind your back. Learn from the leaders. Go for meeting. Buy biscuits for them at meetings. Buy pure water for them at meeting. Pay for some people's scholarship. Go and teach in a primary school. Give back. When you start giving back regularly, people will call you. I have a class, one of my seniors in Ife. He used to do free lesson teacher in Shaki in Oyo State. And they told him to run for office for House of Assembly. He won the election. He became the deputy speaker of the House of Assembly of Oyo State. Just because he was giving free lessons to WAEC students and JAM students. So give back to your society. And before we think of what we want to take from Nigeria, that's the final thing. I don't believe in collecting from people. I believe in giving first. The hand that gives perfume retains part of the smell. If you give somebody rose, you will retain part of the smell of the rose. So I believe in giving back. When I give back, my people in Osun don't have to give me anything back. God is a fair God. Whether you are an atheist, or you are a Christian, or you are a Muslim, or you are a Buddhist, once you are good and you give, God will always give you back. It's a natural principle. If I throw my phone up now, it will fall down. Whether I'm a born again, whether I'm a herbalist, the phone will fall down. That's the same way of giving to the society. So in Nigeria, we have to have that culture of giving back. We don't give back as much as we should, including me, because we have the capacity to do more than what we are currently doing. Once we give back and believe in the country and project the good part of our country, we're going to be good. We're going to be good as a country. So that's the 4 practical steps that we should do. You don't have to run for office. But number 1, believe in your mind. So people will tell you that Nigeria can never be good again, that Nigeria is a dead country. And I'm like, how can you say that? If you say Nigeria can never be good again, do you think anything good can happen to you? Even if you and your family go to Canada, don't you have relatives, people from your hometown? And God created some of us so that we can shine light in our community and help our community. God gave some of us resources not because of our families, so that we can help people on the street and people from our community. So if you think what God has done for you, you're a professor in London and America and you don't have any business back in Nigeria, you are deceiving yourself. You will be held accountable on the day of judgment. I believe in that, and I know Christians also believe in that. God will ask you, these resources I gave you, this reputation I gave you as a professor in Harvard, professor in MIT, what has it impacted in your village in Afake in Osun State? You are a lawyer, 16 years at the bar, you have a nice car, you live in a good home. How has that impacted your people in your community? Are you just using all your money to send your children to private schools and go for summer abroad? God will ask us all those things. So we must have that spirit that Nigeria will be good, and we should be willing to give back. Once we do that, ALG, they invite me for 100 programs. I will try my best to go for the 100 because I believe in what they are doing. Pastor Ighodalo is not a Muslim, he's a leading pastor. But I like what he's doing, and I will always support because I can see the vision. I know what he's trying to achieve. I know that vision. I understand it. I've keyed into it. So I will support it. I will support it. I didn't tell Pastor Ighodalo when Mr. Faruq Abass was running for governor for Edo State last year. I'd already decamped to APC. But in my mind, I was hoping that even though I was an APC member, I was like, Edo State, this man is a solid man now. I've been on the board of a company with him before. I know his capacity. They will benefit from him. And that's the way I am. If they don't give me an appointment because of that, they should go with their appointment. I'm fine. But we'll never get to a position whereby I won't be able to say the truth because we want to get the appointment or because we belong to a party. No, that's not the way God has created us. But we must have a voice. So that's the way. If I don't run for office, my voice alone is enough to inspire people and to encourage people to take steps. So if that's what I'm able to achieve in my lifetime, I'm fine with that. So that's what I think we should do, Pastor.
Okay, can you repeat those 4 steps again? 1, 2, 3, 4, just for the benefit.
Number 1, we must believe in Nigeria. We must believe in Nigeria. Yes, we must believe Nigeria can be a great country. Number 2, we should look for ways that we can give back to Nigeria by supporting organizations that are trying to make the country better, by supporting people who want to run for offices, by supporting causes, and by willing to give back our time to add to Nigeria. Because as F. Kennedy said, ask what you can do for your country. Don't ask what your country can do for you. Then if you want to take the notch higher, join a political party. And when you join a political party, don't join with the idea that because you are a professor or you are a multimillionaire, everybody should start listening to you or treating you like a god. No. Join with a view to learning to giving back and to understanding the leaders of the party. When you give back to a certain kind of level, the environment, people around will call you and say, run for office. Or you to scout for people who can run for office in your community. Tap people to come back. If you have a friend in Canada who has forgotten about Nigeria, bring him back and say, we have a function. Come and inspire somebody. President Bill Clinton, as a student in primary school, he shook a president of America and sat down on the chair of a governor. And that was why he said he wants to become a president. And when he became the governor of his state, he instituted that program of primary school students should come to his office and sit down on the chair of the governor, because that motivated him by going for excursion. And when he became president, he started that same principle. And Lagos State Governor Asiwaju Tinubu copied that same principle. So some students' life as a 5-year-old will change just because they met Pastor Ighodalo and they see him speaking English. They will just say, I want to be a pastor. I read about one famous artist. He watched somebody playing guitar on television. And because of that, and he became a very good music person. So let's inspire and let's tell people to come out to run for office and support them. So those are the steps that I think we need to take. And Nigeria will be a better place. Nigeria will be a better place. But we have to be involved. That's the only way forward, sir.
Thank you. Sonny, Jumoke, over to you guys. Let's you have the floor. Question and answer. Bashir, we'll take your question later. We have a process. We interview, then we take questions and answers later. So Sonny Jumoke, take the questions and answers.
All right. Thank you very much, Pastor. Abbas, you're welcome. This is Pastor Sonny. How are you?
Pastor Sonny, nice to meet you again after a long time.
Yes, so I'm happy to. I would have really liked you to answer my questions because it's like Wike saying that leaving his party and joining APC is like leaving malaria to go and acquire cancer. But so he has not yet left. He's still there. So I still imagine that he's still dealing with his malaria, thinking and watching of how he wants to go and acquire cancer, even though he's working for cancer. So let me take the questions that we have. Let me take the hands that we have, because I would have loved to ask you, what's your assessment of APC's government at the center? Even though you've largely made your case a local case, all politics are local. So your reason for moving, I didn't hear you say, oh, President Tinubu is doing very well and we need to align with him to support him, like I've had many other politicians say. You know, what you have largely adduced is that your reason is the local politics in Osun State. That's why you have moved.
Yes, please.
Okay. So let me now ask you the question about how Tinubu is doing. But let me allow the people who have raised their hands to ask you questions that they may have. And Bashir Yusuf has been raising his hand since. Please, let's unmute him and allow him to ask his question or make his comment. Bashir, you can go ahead.
Hello, is this working? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, you're low.
I have a question. Regarding democracy, you were specifically blaming the weakness of the democracy on the question of illiteracy. However, I see this from a holistic point of view, and especially from a materialist point of view, that blaming this is only blaming the surface layer. And so don't you find it absurd and worrying that we should not be questioning actually the economic system that actually exploits the people and leads to horrible consequences, especially on the neoliberal order that we've been seeing today with the organizations such as the World Funding Bank and the other international banking organizations that favor neoliberal policies that even extend the exploitations of African populations as a whole.
So is there a question there? Did you get a question out of that?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Mr. Bashir, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So my question is actually, should we push for a much more African type of capitalism where there's worker organized democracy, there's worker-based worker cooperatives that actually form an enterprise instead of corporations that are usually foreign and intervene in our countries in order to reaffirm ourselves in a national way?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Yusuf. I understand the question perfectly. You know, when I read IBB General Ibrahim Babangada's memoirs, which he just released about 2-3 months ago, he tried to explain the structural adjustment program, how it came about, and how we tried to localize it. You know, one thing, my philosophy, what I believe is this: all these neoliberal policies, all these foreign policies, and all that, they will not look after our interests. They are not their primary interest is their own interest, their country's interest, or wherever they are working for's interest. So I agree with you that whatever we're taking from the Westerners, from the foreigners, and all that, we must adapt it. We must question it. We must gather our own eggheads. People try to challenge me and say, why do I like IBB so much? I like IBB because it surrounded himself with intellectuals. I'm not sure I've seen any other government since inception of Nigeria that had so many eggheads in the government. Yes, he had his own flaws, but everybody, a dead clock is correct twice in a year, twice in a day. A dead clock is correct. And you can learn, I can quote a bad author if he says something that is good. So I don't believe in wholesale condemnation. So if we have any foreign policy that is coming into Nigeria, we don't just take it hook, line, and sinker, copy and paste. No, you don't just go to ChatGPT and just say, drive this and just take it. No, you analyze, you localize, because the system in Nigeria, some of the data they are using in America, some of their principles can't work in Nigeria. If you bring those principles to Nigeria, they won't work. So I agree with you that we need to localize. But you know, the problem with localizing is that when you have people in government who don't even understand how to if you don't have a certain kind of knowledge and people give you some information, you won't be able to process it. You won't even know what they are saying. You won't know when you have some governors that when they even go and see a traditional ruler, just to greet a traditional ruler, they'll be reading from paper. They say, come and talk to the traditional ruler for 5 minutes. They are carrying paper that they are reading from. Then is it that kind of person that wants to be able to analyze a policy that will now localize it? So it still goes back to quality of leadership. If you have the right people in government, when people bring policies to them and all that, they'll say, no, let's tweak it here. China is doing very well. Malaysia is doing very well. Singapore is doing very well. So what are we saying? So yes, we shouldn't take it hook, line, and sinker because they are working for their own interest. So we must come up with our own homegrown approach, both to democracy and to the economic policies that we have in place. So I hope I've been able to answer that question. Pastor Enebi, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think we'll just take the next 2 to 3 questions so that you can group them like we normally do. So I will take Chinedum Akiti. After that, I will take Auntie Emisi Ransom Kuti and Professor Nike Grinch together. So I'll take those 3 people so that you can address all together. So Chinedum, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And thank you very much for your presentation. It was quite interesting. My question is, so you've made some comments that I essentially agree with. For example, democracy is not for poor people. It's not for people who can't think. But we've been running it for 26 years or how many years so far? And it clearly isn't working. What do we do? I mean, because for me, you've stated what is obvious. We cannot continue to run a system that is not working. What can we do to, differently? Because from where I sit, it's painful that you put a lot of thought and process towards perhaps electing someone, and then your vote counts as much as an Amajiri somewhere who is giving 50 naira to vote, right? So we cannot continue the system as it is. And I'm sorry, I don't agree that, we need to give him more time. I don't think so. I don't think it's a time factor. I think it's a structure factor. That's one. Then secondly, for things like education, something like primary school that you mentioned is lacking, for example, in your village. That's not under federal or whatever. Why can't you run something as simple as that? It's a primary school in your place. Why can't you and a few people go through whatever the process is that is required to have it? Those are my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chinedum. Auntie Emisi, go ahead, ma.
Barrister Faruq Abass. This is Monsieur Ransom Kuti speaking.
Good evening, madam.
Well, I love the way you are sort of no holds barred, giving us the everything without any sugarcoating, how real politics really works. And I think that's what we are battling with, the fact that, we have a system in place where it's a lot of quid pro quos and you have to give this and give that. And if you are focusing on merit and, the philosophical, all the grammar and all the philosophy, you are not going to get very far. I mean, with Kayode Fayemi, I think he lost his election when the people felt he was not eating in the buka with them. That kind of understanding of who we are is, I think, something we need to discuss more extensively, actually understanding ourselves and the way we work and our beliefs and our values and all of that. Now, I mean, I gave a lecture to an association of lawyers a couple of days ago. And one of them had this question that in her group, whether within the NBA structure or and all that, they brought somebody from another system to become the leader of that, whatever it was. And it triggered in me the fact that the kind of activities, the kind of way we behave at this interpersonal, local, group level is what translates into our national experience. She didn't know what to do now, was asking my advice. Now, so I'm asking your advice that, that's the question I'm asking. At this, the one-on-one, the community level, the family level, the work level, the association level, the church level, the impunity with which we organize ourselves, bring in my brother or a family or a friend into a position that they don't deserve. The kind of way we seem to have structured ourselves that does not actually, want to obey guidelines, the rule of law, law and order, those sorts of values doesn't seem to have permeated our society. So continuing with the real politics that you really very eloquently elaborated to us, where you must keep giving people money, you must keep doing this one and that one before you become somebody that is accepted by them and allowed to lead, where the giving and the cycle continues. How do we, is it something that's going to take forever, or is there things we can do to break that cycle so that we begin to be a people that, recognize value, that recognize integrity, that recognize merit, and for our own enlightened self-interest, we pick those people based on that, not because of what they give us. Yeah, it's lovely to give, but it shouldn't be that's the reason that that person is selected to lead us. I hope I'm making sense.
Perfect.
That's my question. Thank you.
Thank
Abass,
you,
I
Ma.
hope you got the question. Thank you, Ma. Professor Nike Grinch, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Barrister Abbas. That was a very enlightening presentation. I've always been very worried about our not addressing the issues of party system. It seems to me that, the basic problem that we actually have has to do with parties. It's like they are the ones that really have to set the stage for us to get the right leadership. And, you've already told us how the problems of parties have to do with their history, the way they have become parties. Those who have got it put on their lap, they are not struggling to make their party better. and those who struggled are the ones that are reaching the people. Now, I wonder whether whatever it is that we can do to get a party together, is there anything we can do to improve their performance? Can we actually have academy for parties or schools for parties? Can we get them to understand what they are not doing right, and how these things can be done? You know, I begin to feel that if we just wait for us to carry out a good educational system from primary school, etc., it's going to take us forever. But now we've got the problem. We have these people in the positions. Can't we have them to be put into a school or something, to streamline their ethical values, to streamline the expectations of the citizens of them for the country, and to understand what the citizens actually need. That's number one. My second question has to do with what the diaspora can do. You have said that, believing in Nigeria is a number one priority if we want to change Nigeria. I know that, now there are many people in diaspora who really believe in Nigeria. Of course, some of them don't believe anymore. They've already gone away and they don't really think more about it. But there are so many that now believe strongly in Nigeria. And they do not lack the capacity to give back. In fact, they are giving back every day. But unfortunately, they are giving back individually and to their own households. So we are thinking that if they can be put together, whatever they are giving back can be put together and invested in transforming Nigeria, it will be better. And then, joining the political party. Joining a political party from abroad may be difficult, but can those in diaspora be thought about as constituting a seventh zone, a zone that can be called upon to, almost like a party, not a party, but to play their own role in the development of Nigeria and to inspire others who are unfortunately not able to get to, they are not able to get abroad, they're not able to get education abroad, but they are in Nigeria, and education in Nigeria is what actually got people to go abroad in the first instance. So if we can inspire them to say that they can get the same kind of education in Nigeria, that is another good thing. So this is what, my two questions. First, how do we streamline people who have not gotten the same kind of education as you and as I have got from Nigeria, in Nigeria, and how do we get people abroad to give back? Thank you.
Thank you. Can you take those three questions, sir, before
Yes,
we
please.
take the last?
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you very much. So I'll start from Mrs. Chinedum Akiti's question. And our question simply is, democracy clearly isn't working. What can we do differently? She talked about vote buying, and she doesn't agree that we need to give it more time. She believes that it's a structural issue that we have. And she talked about the issue of primary school in my community. Why can't we run it since it doesn't involve the federal government? So I'll start from the end of the question, taking it to the front. Regarding the issue of primary school, why can't we run it? We've tried. The state government needs to approve the establishment of a primary school in a community. So you can't just go and build a school on your own. So what we've done in my community is Afake. in Ejigbo local government, Osun State. We've gotten a land and we've notified the government that this is the land. Come and set up a school for us. Just build the structure. You don't need to employ teachers for us. My family will pay for a teacher in the primary school that my dad attended. And we've been doing it for almost 4 years until the lady left and we were trying to recruit somebody else maybe 3 months ago or 4 months ago. I've done table and chairs for secondary schools in my community, in my local government, adjoining villages to my community, where they are writing WAEC and they don't have table and chair. I've done for at least 2 secondary schools. So any charity I want to do, I do it for education within the existing primary schools in my domain. But we've told government, just build a structure for us, build a building and give us approval. At some point, when I wanted to donate primary table and chairs to a school, they had to tell me that they had to get the approval of government first because I was an opposition person then. So some nuances, I buy textbooks, I buy exercise books. I just turned 40 some days ago. My plan was that I want to go back and do something in the primary school I support. My friends have been calling me for parties. I said, I'm not doing any party. I don't believe in parties. So that's what we're trying to do. But we need the government to recognize it. We have a person, somebody we employed in my village that teaches primary small children, and we just give him random payment and all those things. But when they build that structure for us, I can tell you that there are schools in my local government where they only have principal and 1 teacher. They don't have up to 5 teachers, and they have over 70 students. And majority of the schools are like that. The governor said they will employ 5,000 teachers, and they haven't done anything about it. They haven't completed the process. So we just need the government. We have given them land already. We will equip it. We don't need them to equip it for us, but we need that structure and give us a Afake primary school approved. Halas. But they haven't done that for us. And that's part of what we are fighting for. And if they don't do it for us now, the next government that will come will ensure that they do it for us. So I've answered that question. So regarding democracy isn't working, and what can we do differently? What we can do differently is what I've said already. And she said we don't need to give it more. She doesn't think we need to give him more time. Trust me, madam, we need to give it more time. But we can't just give it more time and sit down idly doing nothing. You give it more time and you engage strategically. Pastor Enebi said something about Wike saying PDP is malaria, APC is cancer. For someone like me, when I wanted to leave PDP, my wife was telling me that what will people say on social media? People will say I've always been in PDP for the past 10 years and this and that. So if I cared about what people will say about me or about something, I could have said, okay, I don't want anybody to say anything bad about me or don't let me go to APC. But I know that I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my village first. After my village, then my local governments, then my state. But if I'm able to just achieve my village, I'm okay. If you come to my village, you wouldn't believe that there is any graduate who came from that village. You would think that it's a village that is just only animals and then people who didn't go to school that came. No sort of development. From the way my village has been since I was 3 years old, that's the same way my village is still now. Because I have memories of traveling home with my father for Salah. There is no development. The only development is maybe 2 houses that have come up, but no changes at all in terms of structure or infrastructure. So if we engage and bring in more people, I've been involved in politics since 2018. I just told you how Bamidele Salam became a member of the House of Rep. I stood by him in my local government. Out of 33 votes, I gave him 1 vote. That's a significant contribution. And whether we like it or not, Bamidele Salam is doing very well. He's not an APC member, but he is doing very well. So I will commend him. My senator is not doing very well. The House of Assembly only plays Oshupa Said. If you go to his Facebook page, you will only be seeing Oshupa Said video, party, nightclub, nothing about intellectualism, nothing about project, nothing about lawmaking. Just when we started criticizing him last year, he now started doing one small debate, doing placebo programs that have no meaning to the people. But we are challenging them. We are putting them on their toes. He did a post and said he distributed 100 cows to people, and that's an achievement. I took him up on it. 2 weeks later, he said he has done a debate. So that's getting involved. So we need to get more involved. We need to shine spotlight. I'm an APC member, but I can tell you for free that I don't like the fact that our senators and House of Rep are buying Land Cruisers. They don't need it. If I'm the governor of any state today, I will not buy a brand new car for anybody. I will not buy a brand new car for anybody. Tokumbo, Toyota Camry. Not brand new car. You don't need it. Let's take that money to the primary school. So let's push for more people. Even in Lagos, there are some local government chairmen that changed some things. They might not have done it so well, but let's start small. Let's aim small. I am making an impact. Go and find out about my local government. Even PDP members will tell you that Faruq is a good guy. He does well for us. Some of them don't like me, but I'm still doing my little part. So all I need is I just have 5 more people in Ejigbo. we'll shake them. And Nigerian politicians they are weaklings. Yes, they are very smart, but they are cowards. They are cowards. They cannot stand confrontation. They cannot stand debate. They cannot stand challenge. They will run away. So if you confront them strategically, they will capitulate. But when Nigerians don't engage, you just keep quiet and say, I don't want anybody to say something bad about me. I don't want them to kill my family. I don't want to go home. There's a wizard somewhere. There's a witch. I can never die by mistake. I tell my mother all the time. She's probably listening here. She says, Faruq, take it easy. I saw what you wrote on Facebook. I said, Mommy, the day I came to world, no governor said when I came to this world. And the day I will go out, no governor will determine that. It's only God that will determine it. So I will speak. I will say the right thing. If they want to take me up, let them take me up. I'm ready to confront them back. So when we do that, they will change. For Tinubu, President Tinubu to say today in his speech that some of the best advice he gets from his critics, it means that we need to increase our voices in a strategic manner. Not that you start abusing or you start name calling or you start abusing and insulting. No, I don't insult. If you insult me, maybe once in a while I can insult you back. But typically, I don't like to insult. I like to engage tactically. So what we can do is let's go back and engage tactically. Look at local government election in Lagos State. People are saying APC is one-party state. I've not seen any other political party post a poster. Not one. Not one. Yesterday, when I was going out, I saw them posting poster for the local government chairman in APC in my community in the estate. And I'm like, this woman that will win election, she's still busy pasting poster. She doesn't need to paste any poster. No opposition. Simple local government election, councillor, local government that is next month, July. And people are abusing Tinubu, talking about Tinubu. What have you done in your estate? Why can't you push somebody and say, go to Labour Party and contest? I'll pay for your election. I'll pay for your form. I'll buy a form for you. Why can't you do that? I sponsor people as delegates when I was in PDP because to pay. I tell my ward chairman, give me, okay, we have 5 names. I want 2 of this list. You must give me 2 delegates. And I'll back it up with finance because I know without finance, they won't give me. So that's the way to make change because I don't want to just vote for anybody as my candidate in the party. Baba Yami's election, primaries, governorship, I was the one, I went to Adeleke's primaries venue with a letter that they should not do the primaries. I was so scared they could have killed me. But he gave me security, but I didn't think of my danger to my life. I thought more of what I wanted to achieve. And when I got there, when they told me to fill the form, my hands were shaking because it was in the stadium. I didn't expect that the crowd would be that massive. When you have about 4,000 people wearing the same Ankara, and you are the only one not wearing the Ankara, and yet you are coming with a court order to say that you are the agent to a governorship candidate, to say that the governorship election primary should not hold. When I was talking on the stage, people in the hall, in the stadium, they didn't know what I was saying. If they knew that was what I came for, if they could have lynched me there. I only had 2 mobile policemen in that kind of crowd. I was shaking. My hands were shaking. When I got to the gate, I knew that I'd made a mistake. But I couldn't turn back. And Baba Yemi is spending money. This last Salah, he shared over 200 rams. And that's how we'll be spending money. He might not get the ticket. He might get the ticket. But we are praying he gets the ticket. So that's what needs to change. When I say give it time, I'm not saying we should give it time and not improve our action. Baba Yemi ran for Senate under ADP. Maybe in 2015, 2022, he ran for governor under PDP. He didn't get it. He went to APC last year. Now he has come. With my relationship with Baba Yemi since 2018, I can tell you for free that he has spent over 1 billion naira on charity in the state. If he's moving around, he moves around with about 15 people. If I travel to Osun State, I buy fuel, 120,000 naira going. When I'm coming back, I buy another 80,000 naira. I can't go to Osun State for one day and not spend 500,000 naira. It's not possible. I can't because I'll fuel my car, I'll go with my driver, I'll go with one more person. And they will all buy food and we'll do logistics and people will ask me for money when I get there. So it doesn't even make sense for me anymore. But I've started getting creative ways of doing it. So those are the things we have to start looking for. When I started traveling regularly was affecting me financially, I started doing Facebook Live because I'm like, if I travel to Osun, my hometown, I can't see more than 100 people for 3 days. But at times when I do a live video and say, guys, let's talk, let's analyze this policy, I have over 1,000 people viewing. So I'm even reaching more people. So I have to get creative because I don't have that money to be spending, to be buying fuel and be giving people. So those are the things we need to change gradually. Let's start small. When people make changes in societies, they don't start big. You change your home first. If you don't change your home, you can't change the community. If you don't change your community, you can't change your local government. So you have to start from your polling unit, your family first. Make sure that your children are on the right values. Make sure that your wife believes in your leadership. You can't be cheating and be stealing money and you expect that your wife will respect you. Your children will respect you. So conquer your home. When you conquer your home, conquer your neighborhood, conquer your polling unit, conquer your ward, conquer your local government, conquer your state, conquer your region. Then you talk about federal. So that's what we need to do. From Mrs. Yemisi Ransom-Kuti, nice to meet you, ma'am. You talked about how Governor Fayemi lost his election. We need to understand ourselves, our beliefs, our values. You delivered a lecture to some lawyers and they told you the impunity, how they brought in someone to change something. I will also tell you my own personal, and that how do we change this? If in organizations like lawyers organizations, church, association, we have so much impunity, you can't live in isolation. That's the honest truth. And that's why I tell people, I tell my wife, when you want to share a video with me, I say, I don't want, just summarize it for me, don't show me. Because anything that goes into our minds affects us, whether we like it or not. So I would rather not engage with something that will affect my mind. So if our leaders are doing all sorts of things we don't like, of course, as a society, we are seeing it. If you ask, I'm ruminating, I want to write an article, I'm ruminating about it now, that our children are getting influenced by footballers. My children know so much about football, and I'm disturbed because I don't watch football. We don't play football in my house, and I can tell you all the clubs. So I'm like, are you telling me that footballers are this influential in a 9-year-old child's life? Where are our professionals? Where are our people doing very well? How can we spotlight them so that they can influence our children? Why should footballers be influencing our children? I'm even lucky. Some people is musicians that are influencing their children, or corrupt politicians. So, but I'm still battling with it, that how can I reduce the influence of football in the lives of my children? My son has an injury and he still wants to go and play football. And I'm like, I don't watch football. So where is this coming from? Where is it from his school or from his friends or from social media? So what we need to do is that we need to spotlight our good examples. I also witnessed a shock recently. I don't want to mention the association. I went for a particular association. Somebody is running for an office within the association, and he invited me as one of his key people to go for the meeting. And when I got to the meeting, when we were talking about strategy, they said they need to make plans on how to counter election rigging. And I'm like, are you for real? This is a professional association. So you mean they rig elections to appoint a leader for this organization? Like, I was shocked. I thought it's only in party politics. When I was in PDP, they have spiritual committee. They have committee for area boys. They have committee for sacrifice. They have all sorts of committees that they plan on what they're going to do. They have even compromise committees to compromise the system. So I thought it was just in party politics. But in a professional organization where they are brilliant minds, they said we need to make plans to counter rigging because previous elections were rigged. And there is evidence to that effect. But I won't mention the association. I belong to several associations of various professionals. So it has gone so wide. So the solution to that problem, Madam Professor Ransom-Kuti, is that we need to spotlight those of us who are doing well. Like Professor Ransom-Kuti, I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot about, I don't know whether it's your sister or someone that is a lawyer in one law firm in Lagos Island. One of my mentors is very close to them. We know the story of Professor Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti. She ran for office under NCNC. She didn't win the ticket, and she went to independent candidacy. And because of that, NCNC lost the election and AG won the election. So people who have this heritage, we need to spotlight them. Look at what the president did today. They gave national honors to some people who have died. We need to start celebrating people who make money genuinely, people making impact. So many people don't know Pastor Ighodalo in Nigeria. It's only the brilliant minds that know Pastor Ighodalo. If you go to a village in Osun State and say Pastor Ighodalo, they will tell you who is he. They don't know him, but they know Pato Rankin, they know Portable, they know Ronaldinho, they know footballers. So we need to spotlight. How we need to change that malady we find ourselves in is that let's identify our good products and spotlight them. I once attended a burial ceremony of one of my lawyer's father, one of the lawyers who works in my office. His father died and went for the burial somewhere in Ogun State. I mean, whenever I go for burials, I like to read the brochure of events because I like to read about people who have died because I wonder what people will say about me when I die. And when I read those things, they are so real. If they are telling lies about the person who has died, you know. If he has not done anything good, by reading it, you know. So I am an expert in reading obituaries about people, what people write about them. When I take your brochure and I read it, I can tell you what kind of person the person was. So they didn't give me the program of events when they were going around. And I had to go and meet them. I said, give me a copy of this brochure. I want to read brochure. I want to read it. And when I read it, I was amazed by this man. It was a ball picker in a tennis court. A judge, Justice Ade Farasin, saw him and advised him that he should go to school. He became a registrar at the Supreme Court. Self-taught. He eventually became a lawyer. He had 5 children who were lawyers. Integrity. When I got to his community and I said, I'm going to the Baba lawyer's house, and the Okada man took me directly to his house. When I saw people who came for the burial, they were not high-income people, but you could tell the genuineness of love that the man had an impact in society. And guess what I did? I wrote an article about my experience on LinkedIn. The article went so viral that SANs were sending the articles to me. Even my lawyer that is in my office that works with me, an SAN reached out to him and said, I will offer you a job. Your father was a good man. And he said he doesn't want the job. That is okay, my law firm. So I didn't just witness something. I spotlighted a man who would have been unknown, and so many people knew him after his death. So let's spotlight those who are doing very well. When we spotlight those who are doing very well, people will feel encouraged, and they will feel motivated, and they will feel inspired to do things that will make the community better. But if we are only spotlighting people who have stolen money from government, people who are senators and going with 7 mobile policemen, people who they close airports because they are around, anywhere they go, you see mobile policemen, then we are giving our children the wrong values. I don't watch African Magic. I don't watch all these things. I select what I watch. On social media, I select what I follow because anything I consume affects my mind. I've done the research. I know it, so I don't deceive myself. So even the news, I don't watch some. I don't watch news. I only watch what matters, or I want to just learn from something. So if we spotlight those, and we have many of them, then we can change. And I met one man recently, Mr. Wemima Ogunde, SAN. He told me how he became an Attorney General of Ogun State. A lawyer recommended him to the governor. And when the governor called him, the governor told me they recommended you as my AG Attorney General. But I already have 5 lawyers I'm considering for that post. So I can't give you that position. I will give you any other position you want. Tell me, do you want Commissioner for Works or Finance, or what do you want? The man said, those who recommended me to you know that the only way I can perform is in Attorney General. If you can't give me that, keep your position. The man did not know him from anywhere. He didn't lobby, and he got the appointment. But after 3 years, he resigned. He's a honorable man. But guess what? So many young lawyers don't know him because we don't spotlight people like that. We spotlight those who are driving Rolls Royce, where we don't know the source of their wealth. So when we spotlight, when I met the man, I've been hearing about him before I met him. When I read his book, I was inspired. I had to write about it too. And I've inspired many people to read the book, and many people know him. I went for a program recently. They said I should nominate a keynote speaker. Guess who I nominated? I nominated him. And he delivered the keynotes, and he enjoyed himself, and he was happy, and he inspired so many people. I've made my own contribution to the development of the profession in that way. So those are ways that we can be. So people like Professor Yemisi and Kuti, other people who want to do well, let's share their stories. Let's spotlight them. Let's write books about them. Let's give it for free to our children, to people in the society. Let's get organizations to... What Pastor Ighodalo is doing with this program is fantastic. They invite various people to share their stories, their comments and all those things. And it's online forever. It's going to make an impact. Our children are all on YouTube. Perhaps one day they will say they want to see it. And when they see it, they will like it and they will be happy. When I set up a YouTube channel, my children were excited. They said they wanted to follow me and all those. They were so visibly excited. So they can, whenever I die, they will go online. They will always see all those things. Videos have inspired me. I read it. You can see I have a lot of books. I spend money on books a lot. Just books and perfume. Any other thing I don't buy, I don't like. Because they inspire me, they give me. So when we spotlight, because we have so many good people in our society, it's not as bad as people are saying about Nigeria. Wemima Ogunde is one of them. I know him. I've read his story. People talk about him everywhere. So that's what we need to do to solve that problem. When we spotlight, then we can now change the profession gradually. Then we look at Nigeria. Then Professor Nike Grange said, we're not addressing the issue of party system. Our problem is based on the WAP system, political party system. So what can we do to get parties to improve, get together, improve their performance? Should we have an academy? Can we get them to understand what they are not doing right? How do we solve the party problem? Do we need to put them in a school? Then the second leg of our question, what can the diasporans do? They are giving back, but they give back individually in a scattershot manner. So how can they coordinate their giving back? Can diasporans constitute a zone that can be called upon to play their role in development of Nigeria? Yes, they can. And some of them are doing well. I'll mention, I checked a name on my phone. The lady I said got in touch with me when I was the chief of staff to the speaker from ALG. Her name is Mrs. I apologize for calling her name out. I know she might not like it, but just to encourage people, because when we give anecdotes, we must back it up with facts. So it doesn't look like we are saying AI or we are saying fiction. Her name is Mrs. Lara Odenride. She reached out to me. I don't know, I think it was Pastor Sonny, and maybe that gave her my number or something, that this guy is a PDP. Even Pastor Sonny did not know that I had a position. He just gave her my number. And she reached out to me that she has this brilliant idea. She wants to do some sanitary tiles for children, primary for girls in primary school and secondary school. And she wants to choose some areas where she will do it in Osun State. She needs access to the government and all that. I say, madam, this is a brilliant idea. But if you are doing it, you must start from the speaker's local government. When you start from the speaker's local government, me too, I was selfish. I said, do my local government too. And I brought her into the government. I brought her in to meet with the government, the speaker. I brought her in and all those things. But I'm not sure it went very well. I'm sure the enthusiasm, I'm not sure it went well. So I don't know how that approach went. So those kind of efforts, you shouldn't get distracted. Don't give up. I have somebody else who reached out to me from Saudi Arabia. That one, Pastor Ighodalo, that was part of the reason that encouraged me to resign from government too. They reached out to me from Saudi Arabia. The doctor's sister knew that I was in government. So she called me and said, my brother, they are coming with a medical team from London and Saudi Arabia. They want to do surgery for people who have tumors, and the man is from Osun State, and he wants to get access to Osun State so that people from Osun can come for free for the surgery. So all it needs from government is government should identify people in Osun State that have this disease and provide transportation for them to Lagos. The doctors will fly in from London and Saudi Arabia, and they will do the surgery. And I brought the man to Osun State. I introduced him to the speaker. The speaker took him to the chief of staff, to the governor. Chief of staff took us to the PAMSEC and from something in health or something. We went on and on and on, and they were so lethargic. They didn't respond to us. And I'm like, somebody wants to help you, but just because you won't get anything from it. If we are giving them money, the man even gave me perfumes that I bought from Saudi Arabia, several that I should go and give all of them. I gave all of them. I gave the speaker, I give all of them. That this man even said is giving you gift. So let us nominate people that will go for this program. Just do free advert on radio, give us the names, bring them to Lagos. We will house them, we will do the surgery. They did not respond. I was frustrated. I can give you several other examples that I brought in that it didn't work. But if I was a speaker of the House of Assembly, you don't even need to come to me, because I'll come to Pastor. Pastor, I'm here. How can you help me? What can you do for my state? We need solar here. We need primary school. Tell me what you want. Anything you want from me, I'll do it for you. Consider it done. But when you have people who are not thinking, who are not visionaries, and who are only looking after their own interests, go and look at all of them. 100% of all of them. Go and look at their pictures and their lifestyle before they got into government. Some of them have never traveled abroad before. Some of them don't wear good clothes. We know them very well. But when they got into government, they started driving brand new cars, started buying Rolex wristwatches, started buying perfumes that they don't buy, that they cannot afford. We know all of this. So we need to go after them and let them know they're not doing the right thing. So the diasporans can still, they shouldn't give up. They should continue doing it the way they are doing it. Eventually, you'll get it right. Seyi Makinde was a diaspora. Seyi Makinde is a PDP governor, but I like him because he's an intellectual and he's doing very well, no matter what anybody says. He's doing well in the state. You can tell the difference. Soludo is doing very well in the state. Alex Otti is doing very well. Kutamba is doing very well. You can't take it away from these guys because their private sector experience is helping them in government. So that's the honest truth. So diasporans can come together, but let them look at their state. If you know somebody in government, call this person. They are trying, but they shouldn't give up because it will be frustrating. But they need to continue going ahead. Then for the political parties, educate them. Yes, madam, we need to educate them. But you can't influence somebody if the person doesn't believe you care about him. So if you want to educate these guys, we need to, that's why some of us have to join these parties. In my party in Osun State now, if you tell me you want to come and do something in Osun State, maybe for a local government or for something, I can guarantee you for free. If you want to come and do that seminar, come and start for my local government. I will bring the entire party structure in a hall. I can have the influence to bring them to the hall because I know what to do to bring them to the hall. And you will talk to them and you can mentor them and continue the relationship with them. When other local governments see the impact, they will be the one reaching out that what we did in Ejibo, come and do it for us in Ife, come and do it for us in Ilawo, come and do it for us. We don't have to start with grandiose plan. So we need to enlighten them. And people, do you know in politics, do you know what they said? They say, we are doing politics because of what we will eat and what we want to become. That's the average. That's what they say in Osun State, where I come from. Some people will also tell you again that, so when Pastor Ighodalo talked about the pain that comes with betrayal from election, participating in election, the politicians, they say it. When they say it, I cringe. Because what they say is that it is better for us to lose our child than for us to run for an election and lose the election. So they take it as they say it regularly. Also, they've said it over 100 times for me to even know it. And we are doing politics because of what we want to eat. Then if you have money, you are not doing it because of what you want to eat. You are doing it because of what you want to become. That's their average ideology. So we need to enlighten them that it will affect your child. Government, sick, hospital, and you give them envelope, give them lacasera, give them biscuits. Because it's a give and take. But if you just call people and just put PowerPoint and you just do seminar and you don't even give any money, you don't give any food, they will not even come. Or you are talking, they will just be using their phone or they will be sleeping. And when are you going to give us money? But you have to rapport them, have a relationship with them. So people like us that we have a relationship with them, we'll have told them, I want to born in Latin America, what if for money visa, and lost in where you go, we'll tell them all those things. So when they come for that program, they're already expectant. America. You give them hopes. You give them
Yeah.
hope. Then when you now get there, you now tell them everything. You now give example. Well, she's now a professor in London or in MIT. And you know, the bell. You got to so you have to.
Yeah, we'll take you up on that offer of training because we do have
please.
that.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
We'll definitely take you up on that. The issue now is we have about 4 hands up and we're very short on time. So I don't know how you can keep your responses. We want to take.
I'm so sorry. I tend to talk a lot.
No, you're very passionate and thank you. It's been very insightful conversation, especially for a day like this. There's so much that has been taken from here, but we want to give everyone an opportunity to ask their question and respond, and for you to respond to them. So I think a couple of hands went down, but I'm going to take Raji. Raji had his hand up for a very long time. So Raji, please go ahead with your question, and then we'll take Adeolu Allen. If you can keep your question also succinct, we would really appreciate that, so that Honorable can answer your questions or respond. Please go ahead, Raji. Then we'll take Adeolu and Aaron, and then yes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation, sir. My question is, what can we do in Nigeria to ensure continuity in governance? Can there be any legislation to that effect? It appears that whenever a governor comes, he has agenda. For instance, a leader has 7-point agenda, and after the demise of the person, that became the demise of the agenda. So what can we do to ensure continuity in governance? Secondly, sir, do you think a 6-year one term is better than having 2 terms in our democracy? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Aaron, please go ahead with Adeolu Allen. Please go ahead with your question. We've asked you to unmute.
Thank you very much, Madam Jumoke. I wish to just prove before our speaker that are we actually having free and fair elections from your perspective, sir, from previous elections? This is actually coming from my angle, my own view and observation as Pastor Ichua has been engaging us with this ALG for some years now. It has encouraged persons like us to also follow this trend, because I lead hundreds and thousands of youths in Nigeria, and that's quite for a long time, in about 20 years. That's the organization I preside in, Campus Outreach for Jesus. And I observe that our youths don't believe anymore in our democracy. And following the history of the challenge of electoral process, sir, how do you think, sir, we can actually convince an average youth in Nigeria to get their voters card again and get their vote count? This is really something that I wish we can also address in this today's topic on, party politics and democracy on a day like this. Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. We would have Aaron. Aaron, please go ahead and ask your question. And if you can take those 3, and then we'll take the last set. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Faruq. This is Aaron Onyebuchi.
Of course, I know you.
Yes, I've known Faruq for over 10 years, and I'm always impressed by your candor and your bluntness. I'll keep it short. Faruq, do you think that any of the problems that we have with our democracy, whether it's real or perceived, do you think that any of those problems can be tied to our constitution? I guess my question is, can the constitution we have now attain the type of democracy that we want to achieve? That's my question.
Thank you very much. Can you respond to those 3, and then we'll take the last set of questions?
Thank you very much, madam. Yes, so okay, Mr. Raji asked that, how do we ensure continuity in governance? What can we do to ensure continuity? And that, do I believe 6-year term might be better? That's a very good question, because I ruminated on that question this morning. And it's very unfortunate, because you have parties in government, like my own state. There was a sharp contrast between when Governor Oyetola came into government and Governor Aregbesola was there in terms of continuity of policies and projects. Aregbesola came up with some very, very brazen and I don't want to call it controversial, but the Marxist or communist kind of policies. But when the governor came in, Oyetola came in, he didn't continue some, he continued some. So people were complaining in PDP at the time when we were there that there's a disconnect and all that. So it gives me a sense of concern. And I wonder that you guys are from the same party. Why can't you achieve this? And interestingly, I think Professor Okonjo-Iweala answered the question. I attended a conference once where she delivered a keynote address, and she mentioned one country. I can't remember whether it was Salvador or one of all these South American countries. And she said in that country, all the political parties, they have a charter for the development of the country. And they've all committed. They went to sign an agreement that regardless of whichever party comes into government, these are the goals we want to achieve. And that they are so focused. And when she went to the country, they used to kill each other before, the policy was brutal. But with that policy now, they are all doing very well. And whether we like it or not, Lagos State has also tried. Asiwaju has tried, because there's a seamless continuity. Yes, when Governor Ambode was there, he didn't continue some of Lagos homes that Fashola came up with. It's a very brilliant program. I love it. My sister and her husband bought a flat during the program. They didn't know anybody in government. It was a lottery. They chose them and they paid for it over a 10-year period. So I was hoping that policy would continue. But I don't think it has continued with the kind of vigor Governor Raji Fashola brought into place. Look at the Osborne project, the estate on Third Mainland Bridge after Osborne. It's been abandoned since Fashola left government. But on the macro level, Lagos State government has been able to ensure continuity. So it's something that the political parties need to do. Political parties need to sit down and say, what do we want to achieve for Osun State? Let's agree on it. So whichever governor comes, whether you have 10-point agenda, 7-point agenda, align it with the vision of the party. But our political party system is not ideology driven. It's just for us to grab power. So we haven't gotten to that level yet. But I believe that that's where we should be looking at. So once we have that, then 6-year term, 6-year or 1-year term, for me, or 4-year term, is neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. Yes, when you spend 2 years in government, the governors start getting distracted, planning for second term. But the truth is that even when you have 6 term, when their time is about to finish, they will still get distracted because they want to impose their successor. My philosophy, which I gained from the Stoics, is that whether you live for 100 years or you live for 10 years, there's no difference. So whether you have a long life or a short life, there's no difference. We all lose one life. So it's what you achieve during your life that matters. Because some people live for 80 years and they don't have any impact. And somebody lives for just 25 years and he has more impact than that. So whether it's 6 term or 4 term, it doesn't matter. It's the performance and the desire of the governor to perform that matters. So I don't subscribe. It's just a distinction without a difference. And it's just glib talk here and there. I don't believe in that. Mr. Adeolu Allen, are we having free and fair elections in Nigeria? I strongly believe that we're having free and fair to an extent. When people lose elections, we know who won those elections. We know. If we want to tell ourselves the truth, when President Yar'Adua came in, he said my election was flawed. He admitted. So if he says the election was flawed, was he not saying that he didn't win the election? We know these things. You can't rig an election where you are not popular. So we have free and fair election to an extent. But what happens is that from the point of declaring the election result at the polling units to the collation center, to the ward center, a lot of abracadabra magic happens. And if you go and do your investigation, we know Alex Otti in 2015, people believed strongly that he won the Abia election. But he lost at the tribunal. When he got on Court of Appeal said he won the election. But Supreme Court upturned it. But when he went again, he won. In Osun State in 2018, APC was declared as the winner. But those of us on ground knew PDP won the election. But the court said we didn't win. And INEC said we didn't win. And we accepted at the time. And in 2022, when Adeleke did it again, he won the election. Was it free and fair? I would say free, but it was monetized. Everybody does it. The political party, they do it. But I say that from what I've seen in the election is this. Most people vote for a party. If you don't give them money, they will still vote. But because it has become a culture, some people will never vote for APC in my village. If you give them money, they won't vote for APC. Some people, they want to vote for APC. But if you give them money, they will come out. If you don't give them money, they might not come out. But if they were to vote, they will vote for APC. Some people who don't have money to come from where they are living in Iwo to the polling units. So if you send money to those kind of people, they will come and vote. But if you don't give them money, they won't just use their money to pay to come and vote in a place. Some people, they want to vote for APC or PDP when they are on the queue and the sun is too much and they don't have umbrella, they will leave. But if you give them gala and coke, they will stay. So the money aspect is just incentivizing them to do their civic duties. But there are some that no values. Mercenaries, you buy them. And I don't think I don't have the data on the level of mercenaries that we have. We have the neutrals who don't know who to vote for. We have those that will vote for this party because their mother votes for that party. We have those that will vote for APC. We have the mercenaries and we have the neutrals. So I don't have data on that. So I believe strongly, largely, my polling unit, election in my polling unit is always free and fair. I monitor it. Yes, we give people things, the parties give everybody things, but I mean, people are waiting. Why won't I give them food to eat? I will celebrate it with them. So I believe so. Then how do we encourage our youth to get PVC? I think we are doing very well. When Peter Obi ran for president in 2023, and people were saying, no, he's a newcomer, he will not do anything, he doesn't have any value. I say, no, don't abuse Peter Obi. Peter Obi is helping our democracy. The demographics, those supporting Peter Obi, ordinarily, they'll be watching Big Brother Nigeria, the youth supporting him. They will never participate in politics in Nigeria if we leave it to just APC and PDP. So Peter Obi, we need someone like Peter Obi to bring them out to be interested. Yes, they might not achieve what they want to achieve, but they already have a PVC. He had about 9 million votes or thereabouts. That's significant. So we already have those youths. And that's what I like about Peter Obi coming into politics. Because a lot of people who work for Peter Obi, and they don't participate in politics normally. They use their money. My cousin served as a polling agent, and she's a chartered accountant, a CFO of a big organization on stock exchange. But she served as a polling agent. So people like that, they came into the system because of someone like Peter Obi. So whether Peter Obi runs now or not, they're already in the system. If they see any other person that has those kind of values of Peter Obi or something of that sort, they will be attracted to come into the system. So those people that we have identified, let's talk to them. If they see a candidate, if Pastor Ito Agudalo says he wants to run for Lagos State election, some people that don't have PVC, they will go and collect PVC because they like his personality. So we have to be strategic. And we have to advertise. Go and meet them where they play. They watch Big Brother Nigeria. They are on social media. Go to where they are. Peter Obi is very strong on social media because that's where the youths are. You went there to meet them. So if you want them to get PVC, go to where they are playing. Go to where their attention is. Their attention is on their phone. Go and meet them on their phone. They'll be convinced and tell them stories on why they need to vote. So that's what I think about that. Aaron, good to catch up with you, my very good brother. Do you think any of the problem with our democracy can be tied to our constitution? Trust me, I don't believe that our constitution is the problem because there is no country in the world that has a perfect constitution. The American constitution has not been amended for it has been donkey years, So it's not constitution, it's about your intention. Our constitution is well drafted. Yes, it was drafted by the military force, but it has a lot of good fundamental objectives. We have some nice provisions. Yes, there are one or two places, state police, the tax system that Ashwadi is trying to bring in. I love that policy because people in the tax state, people outside are more than people inside. And we need to make it more modern. We need to create incentives to small businesses. So it's an idea. You need to bring it in. So it's not about the document, the constitution. If PDP constitution is a fantastic document, APC constitution is a fantastic document. Bola Ige worked on the two constitutions. But even with their constitution, look at what they are doing. Look at Nigeria, we will say we are Muslims, we will say we are Christians, we will say we are born again. So who are the people that are committing corruption? Who are the people cheating on their spouse? Who are the people stealing government money? Can they not be identified with one religion? Do we need to amend the Quran or amend the Bible because people are stealing money in Nigeria? It's not about the documents. I don't believe so. It's internal. It's about values. It's about morals. It's about what we promote in society. So I don't believe it's about the documents. Our constitution is fine as it is. Yes, we can make one or two changes. But if you have a brilliant constitution and you have people with bad intention, they're not going to achieve anything. And if you have a bad constitution and you have people with good intention, the country will blossom. Look at China. Is China a democratic place? Look at North Korea. So that's all, madam. Thank you very much.
Can we take, I think a few people dropped their hands.
No problem at all. I'm here for you now.
We are going to take Nathan, Mr. Nathan Uzamere. Please keep it very brief. And Auntie Bola, I don't know if you still want to ask your question. And Dr. Ashiru, you also had your hand up. Nathan, please go ahead with your question. And if you still want to ask your question, please raise your hand. Go ahead, Mr. Uzamere.
Yes, good evening. Honorable Faruq, a very nice presentation. I think for me, I had a brief stint in government, so I think I understand a lot from where you're coming from. But from your foundation statement when you started, I'm very supportive of what you said. But however, I think there's one major thing I disagree with you in terms of, you see, both political parties, they are basically the same. The both major political parties we have in Nigeria, basically the same. And I think for me, the reason why is because of the constitution of the parties. We find that, which you mentioned too, is that when somebody assumes being a governor, automatically they become the leader of the political party. So you can see it's like we are running a one-man show. Or if you have money, you can go to a local constituency and finance the constituency, and next thing you see that that person automatically is the leader. It's you spoke on your own personal experience. I can give you my own personal experience from serving in the government of two different political parties, and the experience is basically the same, but it's probably a reverse from going from an APC to a PDP. So I think one of the biggest problems is that the constitution of the parties they're a little bit weak, and they have to be worked on. There's no what you call ideology. You see, when you see some modern countries, and I don't want to compare us to America or maybe countries that are way ahead of us. You see, they have certain ideologies. You just can't come and become a governor and just decide to do anything without even what your party stands for. Then the other thing is you see, when doing policy work, we find that when you bring a fancy policy, if the people that you are trying to create this policy don't even identify with that policy, it will not work, no matter how fancy it is. It also even goes into the politics as well. If you go to a local, let's take away Lagos. The Lagos people are very, very aware. If you come to, like, I'm from Edo, you come to an Edo now. When somebody becomes a House of Assembly member or House of Rep member, the first thing they will say, "Oh, do road for us." They won't ask you how many laws have you created as even a legislator. And you see, that's one of the things where I think we're also we are weak in the country is the legislation. I think that's what I want you to speak on, because you haven't really spoken on legislation. You spoke more on executives and parties. What do you think the role of the legislator, a proper legislator, is in our democracy today? What do you think that, how do you think they can improve the situation in the country? I also wanted to add, I think Professor Nike Grain said
Can you
something
please
about.
round up, because we are really over time?
Okay,
We're trying,
I will
if you
stop
don't
here. It's
mind,
fine. It's
yes.
okay. No problem.
Thank
You can
you.
just
Thank
stop
you.
here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Otumba Ashiru, please go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't see Ebola anymore.
thank you very much, Farouk. Well said. I just want to quickly, my own is more of a comment. Just want to quickly correct something. You are talking about your donation to state government. There are issues with getting approval. I think it has nothing to do whether you are, and welcome back to APC. It has nothing to do whether you are APC or PDP. I think it's the standard. I remember when those students went to donate something in Remo School or blah, 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 and they were having issues doing the point is that it's proper for you to let the state government, if it's in education, Ministry of Education, to know for standardization, because most times when people come to donate something, you now see it being different. It's just like living in a house as a landlord, you now try to define your own area. It makes the house look bad. So I think that is the proper thing to approach government, that, look, you want to donate this to government. Then if they now say no, then, even we had the same problem in the bank too. When you want to do Damole Street, we had issues. But I think that is their own standard. It needs to be followed. But having said that, I pray that whatever you are doing, you achieve it. And I pray that Dotun will be able to get the governorship thing. But I don't know how it's going to happen, but I pray that things like that will work out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If you can take those two with your closing remarks, and then we can bring up Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Etan Uzamari disagreed with me that both political parties are the same because of their constitution, and he says the governor becomes the leader of the party, and that the constitution of the party are very weak, and that if people don't identify with your policy, it can't work. And I should also speak, I didn't speak on legislature, the role of the legislators, what is their role, and how can we improve their situation. So regarding disagreeing with me on the difference between political parties, I think you agreed with me because I spoke from a practical point of view as an operator in the field. You spoke as someone working in the system, and when the political parties run the government, that they are not different in the execution of the policy. So I think we are both correct because we are talking from a different point of view. I'm talking from operational point of view in terms of candidacy and how did they appoint all their leaders and all those things. So I think I agree with you on that because in Abuja, the senators and House of Rep, they have a saying, when you get to Abuja, there's no political party affiliation. We're all the same in Abuja. But when we go back to our constituencies, then we can wear the toga of our parties. So that is correct. The political constitution of the parties are very weak. I agree with you. Because if you see the constitution of parties, they will tell you that a legal advisor, you should have legal advisor at the ward, at the local government. In most cases, the legal advisors are usually illiterates and farmers. There's no qualification. Youth leaders, when I was in PDP, the youth leader was over 45, 46. So many of the youth leaders are over. The party constitution says that you cannot be a party chairman, a ward chairman for more than a particular number of years. Some of them have been there for donkey years. So, but I feel that, yes, we can tweak the issue of qualification. Because if you have a ward chairman that is enlightened, a unit chairman, a local government chairman, there will be a limit to the kind of nonsense they can do, pardon my choice of words. So I agree with you that, yes, perhaps we can tweak the constitution to focus more on capacity and competence for party office holders. When political parties want to choose their party agents, they are very scientific. In my unit, the guy who was doing it for us in PDP, when I left PDP, he followed me to APC and is the one doing APC. PDP, they don't have any literate person that can do it for them, and they'll be in trouble in the next election. They don't, unless they go and bring their main leader. So they choose those who understand technology, who understand numbers. They don't just send anybody or somebody who can bully, who can intimidate. So in our polling unit, we'll say, in that polling unit, Pastor Ighodalo's polling unit, that's where Pastor Ighodalo will vote. We can't choose a young person to be our polling agent there. Let's go and look for one pastor from another church or one professor that will come and counter him on the day of that election. So they think deeply in taking those decisions. So I think it's something that we need to work on. And regarding legislature, I must tell you that the impact of legislators in government is immense, but we don't spotlight them. We only pay attention to the president and the governors. And I worked in the House of Assembly, so I saw it live. I told you about my own House of Assembly member. Is Pasuma, Oshupa Said. He has never organized any town hall meeting, and he has spent 2 years in government. As a legislator, you should organize regular town hall meetings with your people. Tell them, this is how much they've given us. This is what I said in the budget. Some of them don't contribute to the budget. I say it boldly. They don't have any input. It's what the governor sends to them, they approve. When they tell you they've read the budget, some of them are telling lies. They don't have the capacity to go through the budget. We're not speaking lies. We're saying the reality. So if a legislator talks to your governor and says, Mr. Governor, the budget for last year, how can we be spending 70% on recurring items? How can your office of governor spend 70 billion, 60 billion? Mr. Governor, this is not fair. Even education, administration, human capital development, we're not spending money here. Why can't we copy the governor of Enugu State that has more capital expenditure than recurrent? But they don't do that. If they do that and they put the governor on their toes, they will have better government. But most of them just want brand new car. They want to be collecting allowances, and that's all they're after. There are some days I travel from Lagos for House of Assembly sitting, and they will sit for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'll be angry. Did I come all the way from Lagos for this? And it's all about capacity, quality of people we send there. When people are not used to debates, they cannot analyze issues. So what do you want them to say? So I felt I was even, and in my mind, whenever I'm in the sitting, I will be thanking God, God, I thank you that I did not run for office in 2023. Because if I had won the election and I'm in this kind of House of Assembly, I would have resigned within 6 months. Because it was more or less like a circus. And I was trying my best to bring policy, bring this, but I mean, when the people don't believe in your policy, you're idle. So I believe that if we have quality representatives, they will do a good job. Bamidele Salam is a member of the House of Rep. He's doing very well. He's doing very well, whether we like it or not. Oshio Mole is doing very well, whether we like it or not. So we can spotlight, we can choose some senators who are doing very well, some House of Rep members who are doing very well, who are analyzing issues, and they are contributing to the development of their respective states. So, but we just need more capacity in that. And what Otuba Ashiru said, thank you very much. That's the reason, that's the basis for leadership and elders. We learn from them. At the time, I didn't say it that way, but you are more experienced than me, and I learned from it. So I've taken that feedback and I'm properly guided on that. And I respect your prayer, and I pray God answers the prayer. Omoba has mentioned your name to me a few times, so I pray that he also gets the tickets, and I pray that God blesses his ambition. So regarding my closing remarks, I commend Pastor Ighodalo for sustaining this program, because after his brother lost the election, I assumed that he might not have interest in promoting Nigeria anymore. and I was praying that I hope that even Mr. Aswetu will not give up on Nigeria. I hope he will continue, because I still see him ruling that state in the nearest future, So the fact that you're sustaining this and you've been sustaining it for several years, I know the kind of effort and resources it takes to manage this sort of association. I pray that the Almighty God will continue to bless you, and Almighty God will make it possible for you to achieve your objective. And I want to encourage all of us to, I believe strongly in Nigeria. I don't plan to get a second passport for any other country. Nigeria must work. That's the only option I have, and we'll continue to do our best. So I'm happy to be here, and I thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure discussing with intellectuals. I'm always excited because we're talking with like minds here, not people who always believe in money or all those kind of stuff. So that's my closing remark. Thank you very much, Madam Oriadi.
Thank you very much for your time here. Very well spent, and thank you for all the insightful points that you laid out. We're definitely going to take you up on that offer of training, because that's one of the things we've been rolling out, leadership training and civic education for those that are for those in office and those planning to be in office. So we'll be coordinating that with you in the next week or so. I definitely will follow up with you on that. And then Pastor Sonny asked a question. He said, now that you've gone to APC and we hear the governor is planning on moving to APC, if he does, what will you do? So that was from Pastor Sonny.
I can tell you for free. If he does, I'm not going to vote in the election. I'm not going to campaign. I'm not going to vote. I will just stay back in Lagos. I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to campaign for that. Never. I did it when I was with them as a loyal party member, but having this kind of choice, I'm never. And I can tell you there are a multitude of people who will do the same thing. We are not going to come out to vote.
Thank you. Over to you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, my dear brother and Aburo. You've done well as usual. Spoken with candor, spoken with precision, spoken with your heart. And I'm grateful that we still have people like you that truly, truly believe in Nigeria. And thank you for being part of what we are. So we're going to take you up on your various offers. And, we've been working together anyway, just to make Nigeria great again. And we really need to find how we're going to educate our people. We need to find out how we're going to get many more people involved. We need to find out how we're going to take Nigeria to the next level. And we are going to keep at it. We promise to keep at it. And we're sure that one day God will hear our prayers and answer our prayers. So thank you very much. God bless you. And we'll catch you very soon. I want to thank everybody for staying tuned and for being part of this program. I'm truly, truly grateful to God for all of you who are here. Those who are in Lagos, let me invite you to Saturday's service, 11 o'clock, in honor of my late wife, 5 years, Ibiduniola Jumoke Itwa Igodalo, at Trinity House. If you're in Lagos and you have the time, please try and come. To be nice to see you. God bless you all, and thank you all for being part of the Nigerian dream. Have a wonderful evening and the blessed rest of the weekend. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good one, sir.